Here we are. Yeah, I need to change my shirt. Looks like I only have white shirts. In the promo, I have a white shirt.
You're
I
a
need
judge. You're allowed to have just white or just black. I haven't put on my judge's collar in ages. Nor have I
okay.
used my gavel, nor do I
Ah,
have my shades to shade
but
everybody.
you like the shades. Welcome to everybody. Yay! As the law turns, here we are again. Judge Vivian and Judge Dawn. Hello to our new viewers, and welcome back to our old senior viewers or frequent viewers, not old, not senior. Okay, watch my mouth. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another Thursday night. Here we are with you. We appreciate you spending your Thursday night with me, and we will remind you, contact us, give us a show topic. Idea is a lot of stuff out there, and Twitter, and just real life, and TV, and we'll discuss almost anything. And we don't know the facts, we're lawyers. We'll make it up. So call us.
We'll read it, make it up ish.
Well,
I often
yes.
say that we have a degree in BS. I'm not trying.
Yes. We are.
So for those of you that have never been to the show, my name is Judge Vivian, and this is our show As the Law Turns, where we talk about cool topics and we tell you some of the legality of it, whether we find a person guilty or not guilty, or liable or not liable. And then sometimes we just have a round table talk where we just discuss the fun parts about law and what we've seen on TV. Or with tonight's topic, it is a news topic and a real life topic. So it's going to be really fun. And we basically get you guys to answer questions. You're our jurors, and you can come on and help us decide what we're going to decide. And we're very excited to have you all here. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
And we're not a right or wrong. We're up to open discussion.
Exactly.
We are lawyers, but we're not a right or wrong, and we're not giving you legal advice. We're discussing legal topics and issues, just like in the court system, that adversarial system. That means there's a prosecutor and a defendant, or a plaintiff or respondent, or plaintiff or defendant, two sides. They talk about the issues. We litigate the issues. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're just an open discussion about law. The goal is to have the increase in desire to learn about law. Lawyers, law school, judges, prosecutors, private attorneys, defense attorneys. We are part of the 3%ers. Like Judge Vivian has said in the previous shows, only 3% of lawyers are African American. And we are part of the 5% of African American, 3% are women, correct?
Yeah, 2% are women and 3% are men.
So the goal of this show is to increase your desire to look at legal field and legal profession. Not everyone that goes to law school wants to actually practice law, but I'm telling you, everything you do, say, feel, touch, some lawyer or legislator has had their hand in it. We touch on the private lives about abortion and adoption and property rights and animal rights, and almost everything you do. Some lawyer has had his or her hand in it. So might as well join the legal band and see what you can contribute to society. So the purpose of this show is not to give legal advice, it's to show, to discuss and give interest in law related topics. That's it.
So we are excited because tonight's topic, when I read the headline, I was like, what? When I read the headline, I said, are you kidding me? This has got to be fake. Apparently, a recluse decided that he didn't want people on his doorstep and ringing his doorbell. So he taught his dog, yes, you heard me right, his dog, how to throw rocks at people who rang his doorbell.
Not only did he teach his dog, he was arrested. So his state alleged that he committed a criminal act, not the least of which some animal rights group is probably raising some issues about animal abuse and dog abuse and how you should treat the animal. The picture of the animal was just like a big Rottweiler pit bull with a huge brick in his mouth, a huge, there's a lot of stuff that animals do, but I don't know if this is good or bad. And we want you to weigh in on the topic of should it be prosecuted? Should the state mind their own business? Is it okay for him to treat strangers and neighbors like that on his property? And what responsibility should the law have as far as his private property, his personal rights, and his animal? So all these things are kind of wrapped into the show today, and we want to hear from you.
I thought it was pretty interesting that somewhere in I read something about it on Reddit. It was a post that was also on Reddit, and someone said, "This is a very smart dog. I wonder if they should put him in some kind of training for SWAT or something."
Yes. Smart dog. I have my opinion. I am in my former life, I was an actual practicing judge. I was a prosecutor, and Judge Vivian was a defense attorney. So we were public employees, and we had to deal with animal abuse and animal rights cases and things like that. Please understand that when an issue comes to court to us, we are not judge, juries, executioners. We are lawyers and tasked to go to the court and talk about the issues. If the defense attorney is defending the person who is charged, the prosecuting attorney is prosecuting, and me as a former judge or any judge, we weigh the facts and tie to the law and the evidence and see what the proper verdict should be. We talked about this on the show before, how to get your personal feelings and what you think is right or wrong, your sense of justice, outside of what your legal and ethical responsibility is. And I'll be the first one to admit that I had a real problem with animal cases. I'm going to say animal abuse cases, but these kind of cases were really hard on me. I had to really step out of my personal zone, as Dawn feels, and zip the robe up and understand that I had an ethical and moral and legal duty to just get the facts and the evidence and render a verdict based on that. I have 11 cats. I'm a crazy old cat lady on the corner. If the city didn't get after me and I had more property, I'd have 21 cats. And they had their own cat room. I spent $1,000 on a separate cat room and cat pictures on the wall and stuff like that. So one of the good things about this, we're allowed now to discuss, how far should the law go, and what do you do with your personal feelings if you have the ethical and moral and legal duty to represent someone who you think is maybe as a foul character. I don't know.
I have a mixed feeling on this one. I'm like, yes, I agree that they shouldn't be bothering him that much, because it is his home. But then I think about the major thing I think the police is thinking about here is someone could get seriously hurt. Like, he could injure someone. Somebody could have to go to the hospital or something because he's teaching the dog how to throw rocks at people.
And the dog has no discretion. Dogs doesn't say, "Oh, that's the mailman," or "That's the pizza being delivered." The dog does what the dog is trained. It's funny when you said someone can get hurt. My thinking was, yeah, like the dog. I didn't even think about the individual people getting hurt. My bad.
People could get hurt. The dog could get hurt, but the people could get hurt. The dog somebody could get mad at the dog and decide they want to do some harm to the dog. Somebody could throw rocks back at the dog. The dog is in just as much danger, in my opinion, as the people. And the picture shows the dog like on the roof of the house, by the way. And the dog is just throwing down these big, and they're like boulder-like rocks.
Boulders.
And then you discriminate between whether it's a soft rock or whether it's a hard rock. You know what I'm saying? And it's just utterly ridiculous that he would even teach something like this. I think it was bad on his part. I think maybe they should have come out to him first and just been like, "Hey, don't do this." Maybe giving him a warning. This isn't a good idea. This, I don't know that he got a warning. And I think that's what kind of causes me some concern. But then again, As we used to say, and as they teach us in law school, ignorance of the law is not a defense.
Not a defense. Now, what was the issue? The dog, animal abuse? What law they violate? Or harming people? Now, if you're on my property, am I allowed to, you're kind of trespassing on my property. Am I on my property? Am I allowed to go so far as to throw a rock at you on my property?
This brings me to a funny thought, and also to answer your question, I think that the castle doctrine, bringing in some law guys, the castle doctrine says that you can utilize the same level of reaction or response as is brought on your property. So I guess maybe if it's a person that's consistently ringing the doorbell, being an annoyance, being a problem, being a pain, then he can say, oh, I just did it and I didn't hit anybody and I just did it to get them off my property and to make them leave. So you can have that option, and maybe that was enough. But it also brings me to another thing we were talking about, and I did a TikTok about it. Everybody talks about Macaulay Culkin. Everybody knows the movie Home Alone. And oftentimes I've said, all the things he's doing it to get away from the harm. But it reminds me of the fact that in law, a burglar can sue you for being injured in your home by a trap that you set for him. And the law says that because of the fact that you created the harm for him. Now, if he tripped and fell on his own, he doesn't have as much merit. But if you created a booby trap for him, you could be liable for his hospital bills if he fell in your house.
We all had that standard. I don't know what the case in law school did. The shotgun thing. It was a person attached the shotgun to the door. I don't know if it's a specific burglar or burglars, but I don't know the outcome. But it was a law school study case. Like, can a person go that far to protect their property and get harm or hurt and danger someone else? It's always best, once again, we're not giving legal advice. No, it's always best to meet equal force with equal force. So when we're talking about a law, did you go beyond what was necessary to defend yourself? Do you have a right to the theory, to advance the theory at the trial of self-defense if you go so far? Is it self-defense that you come and grab my TV and you're running away from me and I'm trying to get my TV and then I trip you or shoot you in the back? What am I defending? Property? Even a defense, you're leaving with property, but you're leaving. And so the law is real tricky about that kind of stuff. Once again, we're not trying to give you legal advice. We're just trying to get you to think and have some interest in the law.
We do have a question on Instagram, Judge. China.effect says, so if you shoot him, then what? So hold on. We want to explain that. And I'm going to go back and explain that just a little bit again. So if a burglar is on your property and you are defending, quote unquote, the castle doctrine with your property, say, for instance, you are, as Judge just said, meeting the harm equally, like shooting at him or something, that could be in that moment considered equally, as because of the fact that you're dispelling the current harm that's being done to you, or as the statute says, in progress of a felonious act.
Well, I understand what Judge Vivian said, the harm that's being done to you. We're not talking about the television the guys is trying to steal. We're talking about the harm that's being done to you. Property is a whole different thing. You can't just bring a gun to a knife fight because you're trying to save your VCR. Is that VCR? Whatever they have right now, the Twitter bag or cassette tape, whatever it is.
I'm gonna shade you. She doesn't cassette tape. Judge got a little age on her, y'all.
And then I just showed it. That's a whole different thing. You can't bring a gun to a knife fight. You can't. Not important to mention. In an adversarial system, your defense attorney is going to argue you met the equal force to equal force. The prosecutors are going to argue you went overboard in the defense of property. There's a defense of property and the defense of others' yourself and others, which is a whole different standard. So your question is, am I allowed to shoot him? I'm allowed to, it depends. Typically, I'm allowed to do anything I can to protect myself from future impending harm. Now, the problem is, if it's an 8-year-old boy breaking into my house, that's probably not, physically able. Maybe he's maybe physically not a fit at other purpose. I shouldn't be snatching that boy up like I would do a 63-year-old woman, my height, my size. And so you have to meet equal force with equal force, and you have to use some common sense, which is easy to say when you're sitting in your living room and discussing the issue, but not when your lights turn on and somebody's in your house. But these are the things that we discussed in court. What is equal force? I have a right to defend myself against an attack, but I can't go overboard. Judge Vivian is about 103 pounds soaking wet. I'm not myself. I'm like 141 pounds soaking wet, but her and I may be able to square up an equal battle, maybe a little bit, but I can't treat her like I would treat someone else 70 pounds or 80 pounds or someone 180 pounds.
Yeah, and China, what we really mean on that is not that you can't protect your house and you can't protect your belongings or your things or the people in your house, but there is laws in this particular state that we are aware of, in the state that I'm in is Florida, that if you purposefully set those traps, like a booby trap, like say for instance, you put marbles on the ground in hopes that the burglar would fall on the marbles, you can then possibly be liable for the burglar's issues. Now, doesn't always happen, not always saying, as Judge just said, the most common thing in the law is it depends. I think that's lawyers' most common phrase. We say it depends all the time, and it's true. So that being said, that is that. We kind of got off topic too, because we were talking about we were talking about a dog that has been trained by his owner to throw rocks at people who ring his doorbell, and he ended up getting arrested for it. Unfortunately, though, the article did not express to us what he got arrested for. I think there's many things he could have gotten arrested for. I think he could have got arrested for animal endangerment. I think he could have got arrested for battery against the people that may have been hit. He probably would have been arrested for aggravated battery, because those were boulders that dog was throwing off the roof on top of people. And I think it could be an argument that those boulders were massive and large enough to be considered.
Well, the headlines I was looking at, like man arrested for training dog to throw boulders. So I don't, a man arrested for training dog to throw boulders. The other articles really don't give me a whole explanation of what they did and how they did it, what's going on. Am I allowed to train my dog as an attack dog? Let's carry it one step further. I have a pit bull. I train my dog as an attack dog. If you come on my property, wow, I don't know. The problem is the dogs have no discretion and no filter. So the mailman, the pizza man, there's no threat and perceived threat or harm, but I've trained my dog to attack. And police officers spend a lot of time training dogs and disciplining dogs as guard dogs, attack dogs, police dogs. And so I don't know if the average person is equipped to actually train their dog to drop bricks and boulders on someone else. I don't think we should go that far as a society. If you're a recluse, you put a sign, no trespassing, don't like visitors. You shoot people away. They only have to shoot me one time and that's it. To actually train an animal to hurt people, I think it goes a little too far. And too far for the animal and too far for the potential harm to people.
I agree. I completely agree with that. I think it's going too far. I think in this particular instance, he probably should be charged with something. I'm not sure officially what he got charged with. Like I said, I'm not sure if he got charged with battery. The articles didn't say, or whether he got charged with aggravated battery, or whether he got charged with I don't know why it won't come to me, animal endangerment. But we're getting very, very close to our time, so we have to get to topic number two. And this is a really cool one. This is actually a real true story, guys. So, what do you do as a boss when your employee logs into your email address at work and reads your emails? You're the boss. That part, that's what got me too. Now, I know that technically work emails are not considered confidential, thereby a boss can there spy on his employee. But when it's flipped, I have not seen much case law on it. And I actually tried to start looking it up. What happens to the employee, or what would some people say you should do to the employee? And I need your comments. People comment, answer some questions, give us some questions. What do you think about it? Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. If you found out as the boss that your employee was hacking into your email or logging into your email and then reading your emails.
That brings up an interesting side issue. My desk at my office is really not my desk. I'm allowed to use it at the privilege of the state of Florida. My secretary is not my secretary. Well, she is, because I had the power to fire her or hire her. But the typically work environment, if I work at McDonald's or GE, General Electric, or Florida Power and Light, that desk is not my desk. I'm allowed to use that desk. As a matter of professionalism, ethics, and privacy, you probably shouldn't be going into my email. But is it my email or the company's email that I am allowed to use? Wow, splitting hairs, but is it mine?
That's why I say it's a fine line here, because usually you have employees who are upset at employers for reading their emails and finding out that they're doing things inappropriate on their computers, like, watching TV or doing something they're not supposed to be doing. And then they get fired. And in part of them getting fired, they say, oh, I saw you I saw you sending this inappropriate GIF in your email. And then employees are like, what? You can't read my emails. And then the law's like, well, work emails are not confidential. And so that's where I'm like, with that fine line. But how does it change when you find out that your actual employee is doing it to you? But here's the catch to this true story too, guys. Let's throw this out here at you. What if some of the emails he was reading was about the other employees' standards? Like when you what's the word? Reviews, other employees.
Evaluations, yes.
Now, how do we get into this topic? Do you now think that may be going too far against privacy?
Well, I don't know what I'm reading before I read it. I'm just reading emails and text messages. Shouldn't be, but I'm not purposely trying to have an evaluation of somebody else. But I just read my boss's emails, and I just happen to run across somebody else's evaluation. That was not my intent. I don't know.
But do we know his intent?
No. And what am I doing wrong? Am I ethically, morally, legally wrong for now hacking into my boss's email? That's another thing. Now, if I just read my boss's email or sign on to, but he has his own private number that belongs to him or her. How did I get it? Did I steal it? Did he leave it on the desk and I just happened to see it, like any birthday card or a picture or a address envelope or a HIPAA form? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it would be as clear as job would be in jeopardy. I don't know.
You think you keep around an employee who's reading your emails if you were the boss?
No, but I don't know. Well, Florida has a right to work state, so I don't have to give a reason, kind of just to say you need to go. But I better be careful what I'm saying about letting this employee go. Employee go because what? You're reading in my emails? Nobody said I couldn't. You're reading somebody's evaluations. Nobody said I couldn't. What did I violate? And some employment lawyer or some discrimination lawyer said, what did my client do wrong?
See, I'm thinking it's the getting into the information of others that's going to be the because now you're not violating company policy. Now you're actually those recommendations of other employees are generally a private thing that sometimes not even employees get a chance to know. So now you're reading the employees' evaluations, and you know about their evaluations, and I feel like that's when I hit the fine line for me. Let's see this. We have two questions. Actually, we have one on Instagram and we have one on Facebook. So Katrina said, that is my question as well. How would the employee be able to access the employer's email without the password? And that's where I guess we need to tell the next part of the story. So then the next part of the story is that he used to work in HR, but he was taken away from that position because of some things he had prior done, and was removed completely from the system on purpose, but somehow got back into said system to begin reading the boss's email.
I don't know. I guess my second thought upon further reflection, this is how laws change and get molded and developed, where somebody does something outside of the box. And then we realize that, we need to tighten up a little bit. I don't know if this employee can be fired or in jeopardy. I wouldn't trust his employee, but unless specifically they had violated some sort of policy or rule or manual, I think I would have a hard time in a state that's not a right to work state, just firing them for no reason. Now that I know this is done, now I have a handbook, just like these residential leases. They start out 1 or 2 paragraphs, and all of a sudden some landlord discovers that, wait a minute, the tenant has 4 cats or 3 pots or partying all the time at 11 o'clock at night. Then the lease becomes very specific. So you grow and learn. That's kind of how laws develop. Someone will try something and we have to do something else.
I just want to point out that when people say lawyers, this is why, because people do things like this. And then they bring in lawyers that have to make your life miserable. And when you read your T-Mobile contract, it's 17,000 pages. Hold on, let's quickly go to Instagram because we're running out of time. Oh my goodness. China, that effect said, can employers get in trouble for spying on their employees with cameras or in person? Now, it depends on what you're saying, China. I see you say hidden cameras. It depends on where those cameras are placed, whether they're in bathrooms or special places like that where you would be able to seek privacy. However, if they are around in the open space, the public space where people can go and talk and chat, the kitchen area, your desk space, then no, they can read your emails. As we spoke about earlier, bosses are allowed to read the emails of employees. According to the state of Florida, there is no privacy in your work email.
No. Because when you work, you're about the business of the boss of the corporation or the state. And so there's no private or downtime, if you will.
Exactly. And so, yes, they can have hidden cameras around. If they catch you, they catch you. That's on you. It is legal for them to have hidden cameras, and it is legal for them to be watching you. It is not legal, though, for them to watch you in bathrooms. That is still considered privacy. Sidoni said they can gain access if they're an IT person. I know someone who has access to everything because he used to be in IT. He is no longer IT, but has access to everything, which is annoying because he brags about it. Ooh, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, Miss Parr. When I retired as a judge after 14 years, and same with the state, 13 years of the state, all my passwords were blocked, change, access. I couldn't get on anything now if I wanted to, not at all. And so I don't know what this IT department does, because I can't get on anything that I used to get onto, nothing at all. And so the IT department needs to tighten up.
Well, I think that's still if they're in the company. And I think this particular guy is still in the company. He has just been moved from a different space. So they cut him out, hoping that he would stop doing the things he was already doing. And then he went back and did it again. So, and I know what you're saying, because when I left the public defender's office, I couldn't get back in to say, and I know that kind of stuff is likely encrypted. I guarantee that companies probably also have encryptions on their things for outsiders, but we're talking about insiders. You know what I'm saying? I think that makes it a little bit harder. She said,
no, Ms. Parr, I'm not going to pay you to look for a job while you're on my job. Now, your break time, your smoke break time, your lunch break time, your bathroom break time, your coffee time, that's fine. That's your break time. Sorry, too hard? Okay, let me bring it down.
No, you didn't. I just was like hellish.
The answer would be yes, you can look for a job while you're on the job in your personal break time. The 15 minutes to 12 minutes, whatever your break time is, you can do that. But
Look,
when you're about the business of the job, no, you cannot.
I agree. I am not paying you to look for another job. If you decide you want to look for another job, you better be home. I ain't even giving you time on your break time. You better do that at your phone, not at my desk that I pay for you to be a part of the company.
And that's another issue. You're using my paper, my pen, my phone to look a job on your break time. We got a problem.
I am totally firing you. And Florida is an at-will state.
Yes. Yes.
Max View said, including personal emails accessed by company servers and or devices. Max, you got to be a little more clear. We're not understanding. Are you talking about bosses reading your emails, or are you talking about the fact that this employee has begun reading his boss's emails? Or are you talking about the privacy question that Miss China Effect from Instagram asked us? So, she said, I need more money. They don't pay me a living wage. Woo, I'm sorry. If you work with me, I'm going to try to pay you what you're worth. But I'm going to definitely tell you, if you're going to be at my job looking for another job, then you might be looking for another job. Amen. Amen. I'm shading myself because
Amen. Can't be at my job looking for a job. No. And using my paper and my ink and then my Xerox machine and using my phone and putting your feet up on my desk and when you're interviewed. No.
Oh. I'm gonna shade you. She just said Xerox machine. She has truly showed her age tonight, ladies and gentlemen. She done talked about VHSs, cassette tapes.
And now Xerox machines.
Like you said, talking about the privacy question. Oh, the privacy question, can your employer spy on you? In a way, it's not really spying because it's legal. So it's not spying. They can put cameras anywhere in the public spaces. Like I said, with an exception to bathrooms, they can put a camera anywhere. Largely, most of them do. I'm just going to tell you, there is not a lot of employers now that don't have cameras in their spaces because y'all be stealing things and they can't afford that. I'm not talking about you. Of course, it's not our viewers that are the thieves.
Not the feet on the desk. It's the Xerox machine for me. Oh, y'all be old one day. You all be old one day. But the general principle is you're on somebody's job. You're paid to do that job. I'm presuming on a break you can do that, but be very careful because if I'm looking for a reason to fire you anyway, you're using my pen to look for a job, using my phone to look for a job, you're using my paperclip and you're using my copy machine or my computer to print out your things, and I'm already wanting to get rid of you. Now you've given me a reason. Even though Florida is a right to work state, and I want to get rid of you anyway. Now you give me a reason.
Now you give me a reason. Maxview says, I'm saying it's not just company emails that can be reviewed. It's also personal emails accessed on it. Yes, you are correct. If you access your personal email on a work computer and it is up for review, say, for instance, somebody says, hey, I need to see that email that you looked at last Tuesday, even though it is your personal account, guess what? You just made it public. It's so cute. And if you were like me and work for a government position, any email that you do and they want to review it can then become public record.
Public. You all can ask. So I can see Judge Miss Vivian Williams' emails from February 2nd, not the client confidentiality emails, but those things like, the access. When she says, Judge Fields, when you go to lunch, and I say, if Judge so-and-so is not there, that's public record. You can access it. You can see all of it because I'm about working for the state. This is my job. I'm on the clock all the time when I'm there. All the time.
Exactly. Somebody Sedoni said, what? I had no idea that they can review my personal emails if accessed on work computer. Yes, ma'am. You have just made them a part of your company's what's the word? I can't come up with the word. But essentially it takes away the protection that you have because you've now put that out there for the company. And we've already told you that unfortunately, if you work in a company or a business, that business server is not private. The only servers that are automatically private are generally attorney-client privileged information or trade secrets, something of that nature. So now the Coke recipe is private. They don't tell you how they blend Coke. That's private. Even if that's in an email, that's redacted. That's private. So and job searching as an exempt employee during work hours. Ooh, I'm just saying, you searching at any time during my work hours or not, even on your break, I am not gonna go with that. What about using your personal phone on the network you paid for, like the Wi-Fi, but not you on their property?
Ooh.
Oh, we are really over time, guys. I want to answer the last 2 questions. So these are the last questions, guys. Sorry, we are truly over time. So what about using your personal phone on a network you pay for, not their Wi-Fi, but you on their property? No, that one doesn't count as much, largely because, as you just said, you are not on their Wi-Fi. Thereby, you won't be necessarily subject because you're not directly linking or connecting within the company's servers. And that's how it kind of gets done. It's kind of a direct link from the company's server that you should be affected by. Katrina said that is exactly why you should go to work to do your job, and that's it. Well, somebody, if you get caught on anything, let it be on your own personal phone or device. Don't be crazy enough to use your computer for anything personal. Exactly. And guys, we have to end there, although I do have a really funny story to end with. So our funny story of the evening is, I do know someone who used their personal computer for work once to look for some fun things and ended up getting fired for it and tried to sue, and then everything that they did became public.
Why?
Don't be, and I'm gonna just say a random person, Todd. Don't be Todd. Don't do bad things such as looking up, girls on your escorts on your computer and then try to sue the company for suing you for looking up said escorts because, as the judge said, you looked up said escorts on your lunchtime. They don't care.
They don't care.
Not even a little bit. And we thank you guys for being here with us.
Please, next Thursday, 7 o'clock. Thursday. See you next Thursday, 7 o'clock.
7 p.m. Eastern time. We are here. We are live. Tell your friends, tell your sister, your auntie, your mother, and all of them. Come on. I'm going to be on Instagram and possibly TikTok next time, you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and give Instagram a really quick look at the screen so they can see Judge. Wave to the camera, Judge.
Hello, Instagram.
Judge Fields. And thank you guys. This has been so interesting. We will see you next Thursday.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Time. Ooh, I feel like I need like 20 glasses of water. Anybody else? Bye.